Hey, you beautiful big heads, it's your boy Zatcho, and welcome back to some more Alchemy Stars. This video is different because we're going to be talking about us adding something to the game ourselves. Now, over time, probably see a lot of people talking about why isn't the navigator doing anything? You know, he sees the light trails and everything else. Why isn't he able to do this, that, that? But then we see him in things like the dreams and everything. You know, he's a lot more stronger. Now, whether that be psychic abilities or anything, you know, he's in a mental place. Let's talk about what if we did make the navigator more influential part of the battle. Now, him seeing the light trails and everything is, you know, how we actually control the characters. Us moving them around and we see that little, you know, light going around. That's the light trails that they're referring to. So, you know, everything's connected in that regard in terms of light trails and everything. But what if we actually gave him real abilities that could just change gameplay drastically from a case by case basis to allow more team building capabilities, more, you know, strategies beforehand and into the battles. Let's just, you know, give the navigator some new abilities. So that's what this video is about. So consider liking and subscribing to help the kid grow, and it makes me blessed. So yeah, I've come up with 4 abilities and a fifth one for you guys, you know, for y'all to come up with your own. But I came up with 4 abilities and I broke them down pretty good. Not to a perfect extent, but pretty good to where I feel like these aren't too broken and unstrung. And if they did do something like this, it will give the navigator a lot more, how do you say, use more or less, and more standard gameplay modes instead of just having him be a lot more, you know, capable in the dream events. So, navigator's new abilities. Now, first of all, I believe they should just allow this to be an extension of the enlightenment system. Now, the enlightenment system is already a mode to where you can, you know, get a special currency, take it to the enlightenment system, and it just boosts the stats of your warriors and, you know, the amount of damage and things they do. But let's just add another tab to that. You can get the currency for this, you know, new hub or screen from the enlightenment mode as well. Or as you go through the story, you unlock more abilities for him, however, you know, way you think would be best. But after you, you know, get this material, you would then feed it into this new system, and he will unlock various abilities. So the first ability is a conversion ability that is similar to those that are in the dream events. Depending on the type of conversion that you are using, the skill's cooldown will become longer and longer. Because obviously in the dream event, it's really busted in all honesty, because it's made to where you don't need a converter, but bringing it outside of that mode, it needs to be tamed a little bit. So that's why instead of, you know, being able to select multiple, like, what is it, you get to pick like 5 tiles every turn to make them chromatic, and on a 1 turn cooldown, that's too strong for, you know, regular mode of play in all actuality. So yeah, I would say the conversion ability will have, right now we have 5 different forms of it. So the first one is a, you know, single selection conversion. That's a chromatic tile. All these will be chromatic tiles. That's on a 1 turn cooldown. You get to select 1 tile and convert it into a chromatic tile, you know, helping you bridge gaps. Second one is a 2 turn cooldown cross selection conversion of chromatic tiles. So, you know, you select the middle and then it'll put the tiles up, down, left, and right of the enemy. So yeah, 2 turn cooldown for 4 chromatic tiles isn't that bad. Next up is random select conversion, which is you select 1 tile and then it will pick randomly within a certain range other tiles to turn into chromatic tiles. And this will also be on a 2 turn cooldown. Since it is random, you don't really have much control of it, but you do get a higher number of tiles. So, you know, balance it out that way. And then the next one is a multi-selectable tile conversion. So this will be like on a 3 turn cooldown, you get to select, I would say, 4 or 5 tiles, and you can place them wherever you want, and they're all chromatic tiles. So, not too strong, not too busted. 3 turn cooldown seems fair for that much conversion. And the last one is just making dark tiles. Now, however many you get, because see, dark tiles are weird because they need to be, you know, the specific color already when you're turning something into a dark tile. That's why I'm like iffy on like how crazy it should be. But honestly, right now I'm sitting more at a 1 turn cooldown, and you get to select 2 dark tiles. So you get to turn any 2 tiles into dark tiles on a 1 turn cooldown. Because we honestly don't have too many characters right now that even make dark tiles. So yeah, I don't think that would be too crazy as of right now. So the second ability will be focused more on cooldowns for Aurorians. So as it says, it would reduce everybody's cooldowns, but given the specific situation, it changes. So the first one is literally just an ability that allows you to select any Aurorian on your team and reduce their cooldown by 1. So you activate it, then you go to the right, select anybody on that right side, and reduce the cooldown by 1. I don't think that's too bad, because I would say put it at like a 2-3 turn cooldown. I'm pushing more towards 2. because again, you're only getting to pick one character. You know, it's not like everybody's just getting a cooldown off. So I don't think the cooldown on ability like that should be that high. Next up is reduce everyone cooldown on a certain turn, like on the 4th turn, all cooldowns are reduced by 2. So that's more similar to what they have going on in the, Dream mode, where on the 4th and 7th rounds, everybody's cooldown reduces by 2. I think that's a pretty cool effect that could translate pretty well outside of the Dream mode, just into a standard, state of play. Then the next one is reduce all Aurorians cooldowns by 1 at the start of battle. So that's, a one-time use that you just get right away, and then you just go about your business. And obviously you can see how this could help certain Aurorians who have, well, cooldown issues. Cough, cough, wrath. But yeah, so those are the cooldown abilities that he could have. So next up we have buffing abilities. So these abilities will buff specific classes. So increase detonators or snipers chain combo damage or active skill damage. So not both, you would choose either detonators get increased chain combo or detonators get increased active skill damage, and then vice versa. Snipers get increased chain combo or snipers get increased active skill damage. There could be one that augments their chain combo range. So say, changes detonators active skill range to such and such, whether that be radio max shape, 2 surrounding clusters, things like that. The next up we have increase the number of tiles a converter can convert. So I tried to figure out something for every kind of class. But in this case, it would literally just buff the number of tiles any certain converter would convert. So in case of like a water converter, it will go from Tariel at max can convert 5, so then it will just become 6. Or in terms of dark tiles, it will turn Virgil's 3 into 4. So just giving them a slight buff to their conversion abilities, which is pretty nice. Next up is just increased dot damage. Now, this wouldn't be too applicable everywhere, but there is some places that it would still work. So it would still be nice to have, just to give them, more diversities in what kind of teams people are allowed to build. And the last one is increased healing or shield abilities. That's pretty straightforward. It just would increase the amount of shield you get or amount of healing you get from certain characters, which will obviously be good with someone like Mia. Then the next ability is team synergy abilities, which will pretty much allow you to just be able to craft more diverse teams, I would like to say. Now, the first one is literally just allowing the Aurorian bonds in regular stages. I think the Aurorian bonds concept is really good. That will translate really well outside of the enlightenment system, because certain characters have bonds that allow them to work together. So then characters that are 2 completely different typings will get each other's, typing. One of the bonds is like Midgarding Ranryu or Uriel and Carlene, Hero and Sharona. What it does is it will then allow, if you have Hero and Sharona on the same team, it will allow Hero to attack if you walk on water tiles because Sharona is there, and it will allow a Sharona to attack on forest tiles because Hero is there. I think that concept is really good. That will translate perfectly outside of the enlightenment mode. That would then allow more team diversity in regular stages. The next one is allowing Aurorians of the same factions to work together. So, similar to the bonding, but this time it's just specifically, if they are a part of the same faction, then they can attack, say something like this, like more of like a leader skill thing. So, whatever typing the leader is, then as long as everybody else on the team is a part of that faction, then whatever, attribute the leader is, everybody else will be able to attack on that said tile type. So, say the leader is, let's see, we use Reinhardt as an example. Thunder, Illumina. So, you can have any other kind of Illumina characters on the team, and as long as they are Illumina, they can attack on Thunder tiles, since that is what Reinhardt's native element is. So I think that will allow, more team diversity, because that's what I want to see more in Alchemy Stars, is team diversity. That's what I care about the most, is allowing people to build more crazy teams that they usually can't build. And last but not least, the 5th ability is, you guys. Give me some ideas, or come up with some abilities that you think the Navigator could use that aren't busted, but would be a nice addition to the game. So let's just have fun here and just come up with new things for Navi to be able to do. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you on the next one. Love you guys, and bye-bye.